Princess Anne faces shock as Camilla takes beloved gift while William reveals secrets. The morning light barely filtered through the tall arched windows of Buckingham Palace, but already tension hummed beneath the polished floors and gilded walls. Princess Anne moved quietly through the familiar corridors, the echo of her heels soft against the marble, yet every step felt heavier than the last. Today was her birthday, but the usual cheer had been replaced by a tight knot of unease. She wasn't alone in noticing the subtle shift. The air had an edge, a chill of anticipation that seemed to press in from every corner. Anne paused outside the drawing room, smoothing the folds of her dress, her eyes catching a glint of sunlight reflecting off a crystal chandelier. Inside, a quiet assembly had gathered. Family, close friends, a small circle meant to honor the day with warmth, not spectacle. King Charles offered a gentle nod as she entered, his expression neutral yet observant, while William lingered near the doorway, his stance protective and watchful. Anne's gaze settled on him for a brief moment, recognizing the silent promise in those familiar eyes. He had plans, something carefully tucked away, waiting for the right moment to unfold. The gift, small but weighty in his hand, was no ordinary trinket. It carried the resonance of memory, the kind that could stir hearts or unsettle the most composed. William extended it with meticulous care, his movements precise, deliberate, as if the act itself was part of a sacred ritual. Anne's fingers brushed the velvet box, the soft texture grounding her, even as the storm of emotions threatened to rise. Inside, the pearls gleamed, luminous against the dark fabric, a strand of Diana's essence, a tangible connection to a past that had shaped their lives in ways neither could fully articulate. For Anne, it was more than a necklace. It was a fragment of history, a quiet yet powerful link to her late sister-in-law, a symbol of love and loss intertwined. From across the room, Camilla watched, her eyes narrowing. The flicker of envy she felt was almost imperceptible, yet unmistakable. The pearls were more than adornment to her. They were leverage, a way to assert dominance in a family where shadows of past affection still lingered, where Diana's memory cast a long and unyielding light. Camilla's mind, always scheming, began to spin, threading potential moves, calculating how she might bend the situation to her will. If the necklace could be claimed, so could influence. If Anne could be cornered, so too could perception be reshaped. Her thoughts coiled like smoke, quiet yet suffocating, forming a blueprint for what she believed was inevitable victory. Anne, however, was not a woman easily intimidated. She traced the pearls with reverent fingers, absorbing the weight of their meaning. Every glimmer seemed to whisper Diana's voice, urging patience, courage, and the fierce protection of legacy. William watched her carefully, aware of the tension swirling around them, sensing the brewing storm and the calculated gaze of Camilla, poised like a predator in the shadows. He knew what needed to be done, and in the recesses of his mind, strategies unfolded. Observation, restraint, waiting for the precise moment to act. Meanwhile, Camilla made her move with subtle precision. A quick withdrawal into an alcove, a whispered call into her phone, the crafting of a narrative that could ripple outward unseen. She spoke of the pearls, the legacy, the power they represented, weaving a story designed to unsettle, to provoke, to manipulate. Her voice, low and measured, carried the unmistakable undertone of threat. William, ever alert, caught the words like sparks in the dark. The necklace was not just jewelry, it was the first act in a larger game, a game he intended to win before anyone realized the rules had changed. In the quiet after the exchange, Anne remained composed, though a fire flickered behind her eyes. She understood the stakes, the delicate balance between honor and survival, memory and manipulation. The day's celebrations continued with polite laughter and measured toasts, yet beneath the surface, currents of ambition, loyalty, and cunning pulsed with electric tension. The pearls rested in Anne's hands, radiant yet fragile, a symbol of connection, of love, and of a confrontation that had only just begun. Exactly 600 words. Camilla's plan had momentum now, subtle but undeniable, threading its way through the palace like a quiet, insidious wind. She moved with careful calculation, every step deliberate, her polished demeanor concealing the storm that churned beneath. The pearls were not merely a prize, they were a a key to shaping perception, a way to shift power without overt confrontation. She carried them lightly in a velvet box, as if weightless, yet their presence emboldened her, fueling the arrogance that had been simmering for months. Every glance she cast toward Anne was sharpened with intention, a silent challenge cloaked in civility. Anne, aware of the tension but refusing to succumb, retreated to the solitude of her chambers. The pearls lay against her chest, a tangible reminder of the promise she had made to Diana's memory and to William. And her mind traced the labyrinth of Camilla's likely moves, anticipating maneuvers with the precision of a seasoned strategist. Each step Camila could take had consequences. Every whisper she spread might be traced, every manipulation detected. Anne's resolve hardened with clarity. She would not yield. These jewels were more than objects. They were a manifestation of loyalty, honor, and the weight of legacy. No contrived charm or veiled threat could make her compromise what she knew was sacred. William's determination intensified in tandem with Anne's steadfastness. He shadowed Camilla discreetly, moving through corridors and lobbies, noting her clandestine rendezvous, her careful exchanges with intermediaries. The palace, vast and seemingly serene, was now a chessboard, and every corner held the potential for revelation. William recorded subtle gestures, captured fleeting exchanges, documented her every calculated move. His obsession was not born of vengeance, but of protection, protecting Anne, safeguarding the pearls, and ensuring that the truth of Diana's memory remained untainted. He knew the next move would define the battle, and timing was everything. Camilla, unaware of the surveillance, orchestrated her next act with cunning precision. An anonymous message arrived on Anne's device, stark and unembellished. "The pearls are in my hands. Comply or risk exposure." Moments later, a video call illuminated Anne's screen, Camilla's face a portrait of smug triumph. The implication was clear and the threat palpable. Anne's pulse quickened, but she did not flinch. She absorbed the challenge, letting it solidify her determination rather than weaken it. The pearls were not a bargaining chip, nor a pawn in any public spectacle. They were a lifeline, a testament, and surrender was unthinkable. Anne and William moved quickly, crafting a strategy that relied as much on deception as on courage. A fabricated olive branch, a staged reconciliation dinner was set into motion. The invitation, crafted with the guise of civility, concealed their true intentions. Camilla, confident and overestimating her dominance, accepted eagerly. She imagined herself victorious, poised to extract compliance and public recognition of her perceived triumph. What she did not realize was the trap being laid, invisible threads of justice and retribution woven meticulously by the very hands she sought to manipulate. The evening of the dinner arrived, opulence masking the undercurrent of tension. Anne's calm composure concealed a sharpened awareness. Every gesture, every smile was a measured part of the plan. Camilla, radiant in her certainty, began to speak, spinning narratives intended to unsettle and control. She gloated, let her arrogance slip, and in the process revealed the hidden location of the pearls and the method by which she had seized them. Anne's eyes caught the subtle glimmer of the velvet box in Camilla's grasp. The trap had worked perfectly, and William's concealed device captured the confession in crisp, unassailable detail. In the shadows of the dining room, Anne felt a surge of vindication. The pearls, now in sight and accounted for, were more than a jewel. They were proof, leverage, and vindication all at once. Camilla's arrogance had undone her, each boast a step toward her own unmasking. Anne and William shared a glance, silent but loaded with understanding. The plan had reached its critical moment, and the final phase of exposure was imminent. The storm that had simmered for months was about to break, and the truth would emerge untwisted, undeniable, and commanding. Exactly 600 words. King Charles held the evidence in his hands, the weight of it far beyond the slim USB drive. Camilla's voice, captured in every detail, played back with a chilling clarity that left no room for denial. Her confession, her meticulous plan, and her arrogance were all laid bare, unmasked in a way that even the most cunning spin could not alter. Charles's expression hardened, an icy resolve settling over him. This was a breach of trust too deep to ignore. No amount of charm, manipulation, or influence could absolve the actions that had threatened the very heart of the family and the legacy they swore to protect. Anne, standing quietly nearby, felt the tension shift. The room, once thick with uncertainty, now seemed to pulse with possibility. Her gaze met William's briefly, a wordless exchange of relief and vindication. The pearls, symbols of more than just beauty, rested safely in her hands once more, their luminous presence a testament to loyalty and courage. She knew the battle was not just about objects, but about principle, honor, and the protection of memory. Diana's legacy, intertwined with love and loss, had been shielded once again by those who cherished it most. Camilla, oblivious to the unfolding counter, still clung to her illusion of triumph. She entered the public stage with the confidence of a victor, prepared to assert her dominance and control the narrative. But the recorded confession awaited, a damning revelation that would strip away every carefully constructed lie. Anne and William had arranged for the disclosure in a measured, deliberate way, ensuring that truth would pierce the fog of deceit cleanly and irreversibly. Camilla's smirk faltered the instant the broadcast began, her words drowned out by the undeniable clarity of her own admissions. As the recording played, the room and audience alike held their breath. Every detail of Camilla's scheme emerged with unflinching precision. The theft of the pearls, the manipulation of narratives, the threats against Anne's reputation. The public, millions watching through screens far and wide, witnessed the unraveling of a plan thought invincible. Camilla's eyes widened in horror as her credibility crumbled, the power she believed she held dissolving in real time. There was no escape, no room for reinterpretation, no ally who could salvage the moment. She had underestimated Anne and William, and the consequences were immediate, absolute, and irrevocable. Anne rose with calm dignity, her voice steady and resonant as she addressed the viewers directly. She spoke of Diana, of cherished memories and unwavering bonds, of a legacy that demanded respect rather than exploitation. Her words carried weight both personal and universal, a reminder of what integrity and courage could achieve. The pearls glimmered around her neck, no longer just an ornament, but a symbol of resilience, a tangible reminder that truth, honor, and loyalty could prevail even against the most calculated malice. Every gesture, every glance conveyed her strength and the depth of her conviction. William stood silently beside her, the protector, the vigilant nephew whose foresight had averted disaster. His presence was understated yet commanding, a quiet pillar of support that spoke louder than any declaration. The duo's unity and resolve broadcast a powerful message. The bonds of family, the guardianship of legacy, and the commitment to truth were forces no schemer could easily breach. Camilla, defeated and exposed, receded from the spotlight, her plans dismantled, her influence evaporating like mist under sunlight. The storm she had sought to conjure dissolved entirely, leaving clarity, justice, and a restored order in its wake. Later, in the serene confines of the palace gardens, Anne and William knelt before the memorial of Diana. The pearls lay gently upon the stone, a silent offering and a sacred acknowledgement. Anne whispered softly, a vow that resonated with unwavering resolve. The memory she treasured would endure, safeguarded by love, honor, and unwavering vigilance. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves, carrying away the shadows of deceit and leaving behind the light of truth. Together, they walked forward, side by side, guardians of a legacy that would forever shine brightly, untarnished, and eternal. Exactly 600 words.